ESPN has put out another article disrespecting Jalen Brunson, and I'm here to break it all down. All that and much more on the Knicks Digest. What's up, guys? It's your boy Dariel from Knicks Digest, and if you take a look here, they list the 20 most valuable players of the NBA playoffs in the first round. And just like you guessed, ESPN, they had Jalen Brunson at number 15. Number 15 as far as being the most valuable player in the first round of the playoffs. That is absolutely absurd. And if you take a look here, what they use in order to rank everybody, they use win shares, they use PER wins, they use consensus wins. And all that is great, but in my opinion, I'm more of an eye test guy. I'm more of an old school guy. I like to look at a player and I like to see how he impacts the team, how he's able to empower his teammates, the type of skills that he has, the talent that he has, the footwork, the basketball IQ. I take all of that into account to see how good of a player you really are. And as far as the rest of the list, from number 5, we got Derek White from the Boston Celtics. We got Kyrie Irving at number 4. We got LeBron James at number 3. We got Anthony Edwards from the Minnesota Timberwolves at number 2. And at number 1 is, undoubtedly, I didn't really think this was a surprise, but Nikola Jokic comes in at number 1 with the Denver Nuggets. And to be honest, if I'm talking about the rest of the list, and if we're looking at some of the players that are ahead of Jalen Brunson, at number 6, we have Joel Embiid from the 76ers. Number 7 is Anthony Davis. Number 8 is Jalen Williams from the Oklahoma City Thunder. Number 9 is SGA. Number 10 is Michael Porter Jr. from the Denver Nuggets. 11, Jason Tatum. 12, Luka Doncic. 13, James Harden. 14, they have Franz Wagner ahead of Jalen Brunson. Now, as far as some of the names that I just read off, the ones that really pop out to me, we got Franz Wagner. For Michael Porter Jr., you can make the argument that he is not the third, maybe even fourth most important player on the team. After Jokic, it's absolutely Jamal Murray, and Jamal Murray needs to get more respect as being one of the better players, not just point guards, but one of the better players in the league. Jamal Murray reminds me of Jimmy Butler. Whenever it's winning time, he's showing you time and time again, specifically in the first round against the Lakers, where he had 2 game winners. Jamal Murray comes to play. But after Jamal Murray, you can make a case that Contavious Caldwell-Pope is the third most important player. You can make a case that Aaron Gordon is the third most important player. So to have Michael Porter Jr. at number 10 and Jalen Brunson at number 15 as far as most valuable player in the first round of the playoffs, I don't know how much more disrespectful you can get. As far as Franz Wagner being at number 14 and being ahead of Jalen Brunson, I also think that's absolutely disrespectful. Listen, if Jalen Brunson was not the starting point guard on the New York Knicks, this team would absolutely not be in the playoffs, yet alone they would not be in the play-in conversation. Jalen Brunson, what he's been able to offer this team and this organization is somebody that finally we can point to and be the leader, somebody that we can finally point to and say, that is our best player, he's going to carry us, he's going to empower the rest of his teammates, and whenever we need a bucket, if it's 2 minutes left in the game, if it's 5 minutes left in the game, if we're in overtime, there is something about Jalen Brunson where we can point to him and be like, we got to give him the ball. He's going to be able to make a play, not just for himself, but for others as well. And when you're talking about valuable players around the league, that is one of the components that we really need to talk about. We got to highlight how if every team has that one player that they can point to and say, we're going to give the ball to this player and he's going to create for us. If it's going to be a shot for himself or if it's going to be a shot for one of his teammates, that's how you measure how a valuable player is. And just to back up the numbers, if we take a look at his numbers for the first 9 games of this playoffs, you take a look here, 34.6 points, 7.9 assists, and 3.9 rebounds. And if we get into a little bit more specifics, he is averaging 12.2 field goal makes, and that is on 27.2 field goal attempts. So if you take a look at that number, the volume is there. It's not like he's averaging 12.2 makes on 12 shots or 15 shots. He is actually pretty much doubling that at 27.2. And all of that equates to 44.9%, which is basically 45%. Now, three-point field goal percentage, this is definitely an area of opportunity that Jalen Brunson can work on. He is averaging 2.2 makes on 6.9, which is basically 7 attempts, which equates to 32.3%. And I've always said that if you're considered a good 3-point shooter, you're looking at anywhere between 37 to like 42%. And for Jalen Brunson to be 32.3%, like I said, that's definitely an area of opportunity that Jalen Brunson needs to work on. So hopefully in this summer he realizes that, and that's something that he can tackle. Another name that really pops out to me on this list is James Harden at number 13. James Harden, man, I'm just so over him. Like, as far as the type of player he is, James Harden to me is a regular season player. He's going to come up big in the regular season for 82 games. He's going to get his numbers. He's going to be in the MVP conversation. Well, not anymore because he's kind of on the latter part of his prime. But when he was in his prime, he was always going to be part of the regular season conversation as far as MVP. But then when it's time for crunch time, he absolutely disappears and he withers into the shadows. James Harden is not somebody that you can rely on. And as far as James Harden landing at number 13, being 2 spots ahead of Jalen Brunson is very interesting to me because that LA Clipper team, even though as I'm recording this, they're home and the Dallas Mavericks sent them home, besides James Harden, they have a Russell Westbrook, they have a Kawhi Leonard, they have a Paul George. Like, James Harden actually, as far as being valuable to his own team, he actually might not even crack the top 3. You can make an argument that Russell Westbrook is actually more valuable to the Clippers than James Harden. So if I'm saying that Russell Westbrook might crack the top 3 as far as valuable to the LA Clippers and James Harden is 4th, then how is James Harden ahead of Jalen Brunson as far as being the most valuable players in the first round of the playoffs? And looking at the list again, Kyrie Irving at number 4. And again, this list, it takes everything into account. It takes win shares, PER wins, consensus wins. It takes everything into account. But again, I am more of an eye test guy, and I'm looking at the type of player you are. Kyrie Irving right now for the Dallas Mavericks is the number 2 option. So that means that Luka Doncic is the main primary offensive weapon on that team. So Kyrie Irving is not, I don't want to say that he's not as important as Luka Doncic, but he's actually second behind Luka Doncic. Jalen Brunson is the number 1 option for the New York Knicks. So if Jalen Brunson is not in the lineup, or if we don't have him for a game, then everything changes. Our rotations, the players, the substitution patterns, everything changes. I can say that if Kyrie Irving isn't playing in a game, I'm not going to say that a lot doesn't change, but as far as the stuff that changes in comparison to if Jalen Brunson is not in the game, it's not really, you can't really compare the two. Jalen Brunson is far and away, in my eyes, more valuable to the New York Knicks than Kyrie Irving is to the Dallas Mavericks. Rounding out the top 20, right behind Jalen Brunson at 16, we have Tyrese Maxey. 17, we have Rudy Gobert. 18, Pascal Siakam. 19, Karl Anthony Towns. And number 20, we have Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns. All in all, in my opinion, this list was a huge slap in Jalen Brunson's face from ESPN. Jalen Brunson being number 15 as far as being the most valuable player in the first round of the playoffs, I don't understand how, if he just cracked the top 10, if he was number 8, 9, or 10, I think I would be okay with it. If he was in the top 5, I would be very surprised because the NBA media for this entire season, they haven't been giving Jalen Brunson and they haven't been giving the Knicks the respect that they're due. But Jalen Brunson ended up being number 15, not even anywhere from 10 to 13. And that is utterly blasphemous. The way he played against the Philadelphia 76ers in the first round, carrying the Knicks past the first round for the second consecutive year in his second season with the New York Knicks. He's just showing you the type of player he is, the type of leader, how we can put an organization on his back, and how he is carrying us to places where the New York Knicks have not seen in a while. Currently, the series against the Indiana Pacers is 2-1, and for all accounts, it's looking like the Knicks are going to be able to pull it out, even though there's bodies dropping left and right. It looks like the Knicks are going to be able to pull it out, and it'll be the first time that the Knicks have reached the Eastern Conference Finals since the 1999-2000 season, where they went into the NBA Finals against the San Antonio Spurs, where they eventually lost. But that just shows you right there the impact that Jalen Brunson has. Him coming to the Knicks in his second season, bringing us to the second round against the Indiana Pacers, where in the first season he brought us to the second round, where we eventually lost to the Miami Heat. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself because it's 2-1. Even though the Indiana Pacers, they don't know what the word defense means, we still have to respect them as an opponent. So we still have to see this series out. But if Jalen Brunson is able to come up big like he's been doing in the playoffs so far, I have the utmost confidence in Jalen Brunson to carry us into the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, once we get to the Eastern Conference Finals against Boston, then that's going to be a different conversation because Boston is an absolute juggernaut. They're a monster. They're a beast. They they have all the right components. And if Kristaps Porzingis is taking his time off right now and he's resting that calf, and by the time the Eastern Conference Finals starts, if he's going to be well rested going up against the Knicks, where we don't have any bodies and we're dropping bodies, like I said earlier, left and right, then that series, it might not go as long as I hope for, but we'll deal with that if and when that happens. But guys, I want to say thank you for checking out this video. Leave it in the comments and let me know what you guys think about this blasphemous list of the most valuable players in the first round of the NBA playoffs and Jalen Brunson landing at number 15. Leave it in the comments, but until next time, you guys know the drill, you know the vibes. Jalen Brunson for all the MVPs, Taj Gibson for president wherever you are, Deuce McBride for co-MVP, and I'll check you out in the next video. Peace.